On the Elite Real Estate Podcast this morning. And there I'm coming on screen. There I am. All right, everybody. So I'm super stoked about our guest this morning and happy to have him. I will promise you that. We're happy to have him. We're going to learn a lot of things today. We are going to learn a lot of things today. So I'm going to bring him on to some applause. Is Mr. Austin Cheviron, everybody. How are you, my friend? He's coming on, I promise.
Working on sound.
I promise. We're going to talk about the good thing is what we're not going to talk about today. We're not going to talk about technology, which is going to be perfect because that's not what we're going to talk about. But no, I'm super excited to have Austin on today. We're going to learn a lot of things about. We're going to talk about wealth, how to get it, what to do with it when you get it, how to make your life a little more simpler with it, the things that we do, to continue to grow it, and go from there. So as he's coming on, I will talk to you guys. Listen, Austin, if you guys haven't heard Austin or seen Austin or paid attention to Austin at any point in time, then you're missing out.
Plan B. There we go. Plan B worked. You hear me, Jimmy? You hear me? No? We're good there.
No.
Can't hear me. Nothing? What about this? You got me now? You got me?
Nope.
No? Okay.
You may have to go out and come back in. I don't know.
Check. Do I hear myself? No.
Hey, while we're here, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep talking. As Austin, he's going to come back in. But if you guys haven't heard or seen Austin and his coaching platform and his programs and the things that he does, it's absolutely incredible, guys. And he was here at Build. He's become a really good friend of ours, and it's really nice to have some ideas and bounce ideas off of him and allowing him to get in. Let's see if we get him back in.
I'm in. You hear me?
No, I don't know why you're not. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
So weird.
Okay, give me 2 minutes.
You got it. Take your time. Not really, but take your time.
You can. It says you can hear me here. We can hear test mic. Check. 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 It shows everything's good on my end. I'm coming back in.
Let me check my end.
Check. Check.
There we go.
Hey!
I figured it would take us a minute to do this, right?
Good either way. I'm just thinking, like, what the heck? It shows it's good on my end. You talk about an early show. It's an early show.
It's an early show. Yeah, for sure. It was funny. My mom was like, "Oh, I'm glad it's at 8:30 and not 7:30." And I said, "Ma, it's still at 7:30." She was looking at the date, which I had wrong when I sent you originally anyway. But no, man, super excited to have you again. Obviously, you're one of our favorites up here in Michigan. I know you should probably just move to Detroit.
Detroit came out of my mouth yesterday, but it wasn't to live there. It was to fish there.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. I'll set us up.
I can literally drive there and drive back. So that's my catch-22. I don't have to live there to fish there.
This is true. So But no, man. So I know we're going to talk about wealth today and your program that you have coming out. And I'm super excited about that. So, but tell us what you've been up to. You've been in the lab a lot recently.
Well, so I came into my office today. I wasn't going to. This is the little background of our studio that we produced out of our office to record this program. So what's been really interesting the last, I'm going to say 100 days of my life, I went on a mission to document and produce everything I know about money. And like from very beginning, hi, hello, to I'm dead.
I love it.
And it's funny, I was talking with someone yesterday and in a group, and the one lady goes, I got a question. She goes, she said something like, why did you do all this? And I looked at her and go, not for you. She goes, what do you mean? I go, I did it for my kids. And so, because I went on a mission to say, Dad, my kids are going to look at me one day and see where I'm at today, but they're not going to see where I was. And they're not going to be able to connect those dots. And my biggest fear is that my kids live in my success and then they don't get to go through the struggles and everything. And they just, it's like the next generation's going to not do so well because dad did really well. Dad put it all on his back. So, so I went to document my journey and how, as of today, 12 years ago, I was on welfare. And it's like, how did you go from welfare to being a multimillionaire? Like, what was that process like? And so I went on a little mission. I knew I wanted to do this at some point, Jimmy. It just seemed like now was the right time. So I literally went into my bedroom, which is my office. and for 60 days, I just wrote. I've never done. I'm a high achiever. I move. And it was like, slow down and write.
Yeah. And you never want to sit down. Like you never want to sit down and just relax by the pool. Like
no, I'm literally standing right now. Like I got my trampoline, my rebounder right next to me. Like, no, I'm moving, man.
And I've seen you at the pool at different events, and you're reading or writing, or like you're not just you're not just sitting by the pool.
No, well, I can't just do nothing. My brain will. It's not a good utility to just relax.
Right.
Even though I know I need to do it. I'm always doing something.
You talk about it a lot, right? Like you talk about relaxing, you take a time, and you're if people haven't heard, like your run rest, right? Like I think that's one of the coolest things that you teach is like your run rest periods.
You know why we run rest? It's
so
because we're all burned out.
Yeah.
We're literally all burned out.
Yeah.
We're trying to do better and we don't have any energy. Like I'm exhausted and how could I do any better? I'm like, we'll go take a break. And like, oh, I can't. I got to keep moving. Well, maybe you should. If you want to get to the next level, you might need to take a break.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting, Jimmy. I spent the first 30 days. It's kind of like I wrote a book. But unfortunately, with this book, I have to speak in front of a camera.
Right.
Which is not I'm an introvert. That's not my thing. Very awkward for me, which most people think is normal because I speak a lot, but it takes a lot of energy out of me.
Yeah, people don't understand that part. Like it's Scott Muska, my business partner, and you met Scott, and he talks about he's in the same boat. He's an extroverted introvert.
Yes.
Like he's like, I know what I have to do because that's what you have to do, but I don't want to do that, but I do it.
It's really hard to impact if you don't talk. Like impact is normally done most through either giving of some kind or talking and speaking, which is another form of giving.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like, what people don't understand is really how exhausting that is. It's exhausting to put that suit on every day and go, I'm great and everything's awesome. Look at me, I'm Austin Cheviron and I smile all the time. And it's like that's hard to do all day, every day.
Go home, you're exhausted.
Yeah, absolutely. You go home and it's like I told my wife the other day, I got home and I said, I'm done peopling today. I'm done peopling for the day. I just want to sit down.
We'll go to like my son's baseball game, and when we're done with work, then I go to the baseball game, and I'll say like, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah,
everybody there's
everybody bleachers.
Yeah, everybody there's ready to socialize, and I'm like, hey, no offense, I'm just going to read my book. I'm going to drink my little Waterloo right here. I'm going to watch my son. I really don't want to talk to anybody. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a real thing. It's a real thing. But to talk about your wealth now, and this idea that you went into the lab, you went into your office and just started writing, which
Yep.
again for you is not an easy task, because it's not an easy task for a lot of us that do what we do, right? Because it's otherwise we wouldn't do what we do.
Well, it's easy to write. So I write a lot of training programs or training like sessions. It's easy to write a session. Well, that's still semi-hard. To write like an hour session, or when we were at Build, to say, what my 15 minutes I speak cost me around 20 hours of preparation for my 15 minutes. So just to let everybody know, my 15 minutes, it takes 10 hours to outline it. And then it takes 10 hours to perform it, to know what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. So 15 minutes equals 20 hours in my world at my level of excellence. Some people might take 40 and they do it even 10 times better than me. And some people I talk to spend 0 minutes. And then we have those conversations with those individuals.
Yeah, because you can tell.
I might be listening right now.
Yeah, you can tell. And that's a lot. It's a lot. And I just had this conversation with some agents yesterday because they were shooting some videos, and I said, and they wanted a 10-minute, like a long form video to put on YouTube. And I said, well, that's going to take you, 3, 4, 5 hours just for the video, not alone the editing and all the other stuff. It's going to take 3 hours to get a 10-minute video if you're lucky.
Well, so for the video, it's like, what is your prep to be able to know what order? So if you want to speak to people, you really want to impact. If it's not about your ego, it's about impact. And if it's about impact, then you got to make sure it's impactful, which means they have to understand it, right? Like they have to understand, what am I doing? What is the order? Why am I doing this? Why is it important to me? Well, that's not easy, because what comes out of our mouths normally all about us.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's about us. So then how do I say it so it impacts them, so they can become whatever they're trying to become on their journey?
Right.
And so I have to like mirror what's in my mind to come out of my mouth, and use stories so they can relate, but yet not make it about me.
Yeah. And that's the hardest thing to do. And Sasha just said he's always smiling because of what you've overcome.
Sasha. Hey, Sasha, call me. Actually, don't call me next week. I'm out of the country. The week after that, I will be not available for about the next 10 days. This is
This is your rest.
Next week is my rest. Yep. I'll go to a private island in the middle of nowhere. I'll bring 3 books, and I'll bring a book about meditations, the Bible, and my journal. And other than that, me and fishing and Mother Nature. That's my replenishing. It aligns me with where I'm going. So it's like they always say, like the plane, if it gets 1 degree off when it goes, it will end up like 800 miles different by the time it gets there. So how do you realign where you're going, and not just like every day you're just 1 degree off, 1 degree off? This is one of my realignments, to make sure it's like, okay, what are you trying to do? Why are you doing it? Are you in line? What's not working well? What have you not done that you want to do? What do you think you need to do, but you haven't done it or haven't even said it out loud? And at the end of my last trip, Jimmy, here was a phrase that I guess I just made it up. It's kind of how that stuff works.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is, how does my business reflect the legacy I want to leave? This was my self-question after my time in Canada. How does the business reflect the legacy I want to leave? Sorry, I got to make sure I'm saying this right. It's early.
It is early. That's right. You see me. I'm sipping on my coffee over here, right, a little bit. So
it was. I apologize. I'm my own quote, so I haven't studied it too much yet. But it was something of the nature is, how and what I'm doing today reflect the legacy I want to leave, and my business reflects the lifestyle I want to live. So like, how am I making sure what I'm doing is in alignment with where I want to go and who I want to be? Because a lot of times our lifestyle supports our business.
Yeah.
Like right here, it's 7:30 Eastern. If this doesn't jive with you in your life, then move it. Just move it to say, you know what, on Fridays, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be and how I want to live my life. And so that was my think time question when I was done, which is, how how does what I'm doing here on earth right now reflect the legacy when I'm gone or while I'm here that I want to leave? And how am I working on that? And so for me, I'm documenting my failures and successes. And then how do I make sure my business supports the lifestyle I want to live?
So good. So good.
I'm still working on it.
Well, I keep telling everybody that when we're doing this show, I'm going to start doing T-shirts. So we'll shorten that a little bit. And we'll condense it for make a T-shirt, but it'll be the Austin Cheviron. So Lisa LaRue says, "Hi guys," and then Al Abdallah has a question for you.
Yes,
and Mr. Al. Yeah, Al's a deep thinker as well, and he said, "How do you learn what you listen to and watch and implement so that it's not out of sight and out of mind and insight in mind?"
Actually, Al, I'm going to answer this, man, but I might answer it in a little different way. So, walk with me on this. I spent a lot of years having outside influence come in to enter my head to figure out, okay, what am I doing? Where am I trying to go? Who am I trying to be? What are the failures that I don't know? And like, I learned from other people. I'm in a period now, Al, and you might be there too, where actually for the last 4 months, I have silenced the world as much as I can. And I know who I am and what I need to do. And I just need to do it. And so now I'm in the world of doing and not listening. I mean, I literally have not read a book for like 4 months, other than I did read Chris Voss's because I knew when I wanted to talk to him, I didn't want to sound stupid. Yeah. I've done that plenty of times in my life. I did not want to sound stupid, Jimmy. So I read his whole book before I talked to him. But I'm done. I have not listened to podcasts other than spiritual podcasts for the last 4 months. I have not read a book other than if I met a speaker. I have silenced the outside world and worked on my world. Now, please know, for everybody listening to that, I've had a lot of stuff coming in for a lot of years, Jimmy. And now that I'm clear, it's time to do. I do not need outside influences. I'm good right now. I just need to go.
Yep.
So, Al, it might be time to silence the world and work on Al and get Al's world out to the world. You know what I mean?
And I think one of the things that you said there, and I want everybody to make sure they understood this part, right? Like and I know you talk about this a lot, is do what fits you, right? Like don't do what fits somebody else. Like because that's when we get burnt out, right? When I'm trying to do something that I don't really want to do, but I see somebody else is doing it and they're like, I think they're having success at it. So I want to do it. Well, it's exhausting because I don't really want to do it, but I think I want to do it because it's going to make me more money, right? I'm going to make more money doing it, but I'm going to burn myself out. I'm going to regret doing all of it. So I think that's one of the biggest things to take away from this is do what fits you and your style and how you want to do it. Like you said, if 7:30 doesn't fit, like move the podcast, right? Like it's just do it at a different time or record whatever you want to do. Right. So I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from that.
Here's a great example from what you're saying and what I'm saying. Let me stack on this. I read a book once called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Okay. So one, I took in knowledge from an outside source. One of the regrets, it was about a lady who was a hospice nurse, and she watched all these people dying. She listened to them, and then she documented what they all said. And believe it or not, there was 5 major regrets of the dying. And so one of the regrets was, I wish I would have lived a life true to myself and not what others expected of me. Okay, which is what you just said. It's one of the regrets of the dying. So going back to Al, once you learn, now it's time to do. And is your season right now learning or doing or a mixture of both? Right now, my season of learning needs to be put on hold because I'm not doing enough. And I know what I need to do. I've learned, hey, be true to yourself. Who cares what other people think? If I live that life, Jimmy, it's going to be one of my regrets when I die. And if I already know what the regret is, then let's get rid of that.
Yeah, let's avoid that right now, right? Yeah. Let's avoid that right now. So Samantha says, wow, I love that explanation. Samantha's one of your biggest fans.
I love her. Look, you even know how to put that up on your screen. That's good.
I know, right? I'm learning.
Good. Yeah, you're learning.
Now I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a huge, what we're talking about, everybody, is you know what it's called? It's called life, and
Yeah,
it's hard.
it is.
And you don't know when you're born and as you grow what to do and what not to do. And let me circle this back to money. I realize why people have such a hard time understanding money. You know why that is?
Because we don't we focus on it, but we don't focus on it.
No one teaches us.
Right.
No one teaches. Like, I got my real estate license. No one told me, Austin, you can make $500,000 a year and still be broke.
Right.
Like, they didn't teach me that. They always taught me how to make money, but no one ever taught me how to keep it. And at the end of the day, it's just more about, it doesn't matter what I make. It matters what I have when I'm done. Because my house can get bigger, my car can get nicer, my trips, I can ride first class, I can upgrade my meals, I can always do all these things. But at the end of the day, I want to use the word defense, but I mean, since I was 6, I've been around real estate agents. So I've seen 34 years of my life, how much money you can make and not have any. And that does not equal wealth to me. And so
it's true. How many people do we know? And you and I have had conversations just on the phone, and like how many people do we see that, well, I made so much money, blah, 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 but yet I need another deal. I need another closing. I got to close another deal because I'm broke right now. It's like, how are you broke right now?
Yeah. In our program, I wrote that if you have to, this is a good one. If you have to work to earn income, which is all of us right now, right?
Yep.
If you have to work to earn income, you might always have to work to earn income. And that was in our passive income module. Module 20 is a warning. Like, yes, you have to work today to earn income, but if you don't switch your focus on having a residual income of some kind, you might always have to work. And for me, those were my mentors that are 60, 70 years right now old, that's been in real estate for 40 years. They're still working. You know why? It's not because they love people, but that's what they say. It's because they need the money.
Yeah, because they need the money.
The money.
Yep.
What you thinking? I see your eyes moving.
So no, Lisa just said, I really needed to hear this morning. I need to go into a mode of doing less, learning for a while.
You got to focus your learning and then do what you need to do. So you only have so much time. Let's talk to Lisa right now. You only have so much time and mental space. You need to focus anything you're learning on these exact outcomes that you're trying to achieve. So if you have 4 hours a week of doing, and Lisa, we've talked about this, about 15 minutes a morning, Monday through Thursday, and an hour on Friday to work on your financials. If that equals 2 hours, if you spend 4 hours a week, then have those other 2 hours that you're learning support the other 2 hours that you're working. And don't have it be all over the place with what you're learning. Like, have your learning be focused. So a great example, in 2017, I studied the brain. How does the brain work and what doesn't work well with the brain? And all of my energy and effort was, how do I optimize the brain? And what do I not understand? It wasn't all this other, it was just the brain. So Lisa, like, go all in with one series of learning, and you won't have to spend all this other time, which you don't have. None of us do. Like, we're all looking for more time.
Yep.
And so just go all in with your action and a little bit of learning. I still think you need the learning still with your action, would be my guess. Could be wrong, but. So you want to hear something funny that I found, Jimmy?
3 fire emojis. So it must have resonated because she gave you 3 fire emojis.
Or she's trying to burn me up this morning, one or the other.
It's one way or the other, right? We've both been married for a long time. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's a good or bad. Wait, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Here's something interesting, Jimmy. I'll tell you, after my first 30 days of writing the wealth program was more about outlining. First off, it was, okay, what do I want to achieve? So I'm going to give you the mindset of how I wrote this. And I might be, to let everybody know, I might be completely wrong with this. Okay. Just fair.
Or you can be completely right. We don't know.
I'm thinking I'm right, but full disclosure, this could be completely the wrong way to do anything. So here's what I did. I sat down and I started with the end in mind, which is, what do I want to achieve? Like, why am I doing this? What is my goal? And it was for my kids to have a step-by-step action plan on how to be wealth. When I say be wealth, it's not a destination. It's who you become. It's happiness, it's joy, it's financial freedom, it's time freedom, it's the ability to make decisions without worrying about other people. Like, it is the whole well-being. And how do I help my kids do that? And this program's through the lens of financials. Okay, but it's not just about money. It's about who you get to become along the way and the decisions and life decisions you can make. And so I started with the outcome, Jimmy. What you looking at?
No, I'm watching. I'm just watching my
okay, chat.
Yeah, I'm watching my chat.
I'm making sure you're here with me.
Yeah, no, I'm here with you.
I watch your eyes.
If none of you have been on a Zoom with Austin either, you got to have your camera on and you got to be paying attention because he will call your ass out.
I want to see you. Like, are you listening right now? Damn it, you need help with this. What are you looking at? Don't be looking at your text messages.
It's, and you brought this up, and I think this is an important thing. So I have two boys, right? I have two kids. Now there's a space. They're 20 and 13, right? So and I went out to lunch with my 20-year-old when he was home from school, and he and I just went and grabbed lunch one day. But I had a very candid conversation with him. He's 20 years old, right? Like he's trying to figure out life. He's at a different point than the 13-year-old, right? But I told him, I said, I as a dad, as a father, I said, you guys are getting two different versions of me. Like, you're 7 years apart. So you got a different dad. You got a dad from a 31-year-old dad, right? That was just grinding and trying to figure out what to do and how to do the things. And I said, now your brother is getting a 51-year-old dad. Now I'm 51. Like, he's 13. It's the 7-year difference. My mental state is a lot different now because now I want to be more intentional with my time. In my 30s and 40s, I was like, who cares about time? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just working and doing things that I needed to do to support the family. Now I'm like, well, how can I spend more time with the people that I want to spend time with? Because I am 51 now, right? And I wish I would have had the mindset you're talking about now at 31, right? I wish I would have had that different mindset. That's why I'm hoping that people who are listening on the Breakfast Club call and that people that are watching this or listening to it later understand the reason we do the things that we do is because we did the mistakes. We made all the mistakes. We ran through the brick walls when we didn't have to. And now if I can teach you how to not do that, that's going to save you a lot of time. It's
funny. You said your son's 20. I've been working with some people on how do they take this program and go through it with their kids. One, they need it themselves.
Yes.
But if they didn't need it, how do they take it and go through it with their 20-year-old then? Because if we can teach our 20-year-old how to think about money and how to deal with money, like, you're talking about generational changes.
Yes.
Like, come on.
Yes.
So it's funny. That's part of this program is how can a parent go through it with their child? My oldest is 14. I don't know if she's ready to go through it, even though I wrote it for her. But 20, I was living on my own at 18. Like, you need to figure something out. Okay.
Right.
So that's funny. You said that about going through it with your kid. And then so the adult can get it too, because module 21 is inheritance. Okay, which is a really interesting module. It's not about, it's funny, we bounce all over the place. So we do, but we don't, because it's all connected, right? It's just going here, but we're moving down the line.
Yeah, it's all connected. We're getting there.
So module 21's inheritance. So somebody said, okay, we'll use you for an example. The program's $9.99. Okay. So my first thing is, can someone get $999 of value? Like, that's really important to me, Jimmy. Because if not, then I don't feel good about it. So when you get yourself set up, I don't need the money. So the program could be $1, it could be $1 million. It's not my concern. My concern is, how does someone get the value, and can they get exponential value out of their time commitment and their money commitment? So now let's say I put you and your son through this program. There's 22 modules. Module 21 is inheritance. Okay. And in this inheritance module, we work through, now that you have all of your stuff in one place, like literally we've done all this work. Now it's time to document it and put it in a will. So now imagine you and your son, like your son, I'm sure will handle your estate possibly one day. Okay.
One day. Yep.
So he'll handle your estate. Well, if all your stuff's not in one place and you've left a complete mess for him, And I know this because my mother died when I was 16 and I personally had to deal with this. Okay. So now that we've done all the work, everything's in one place. Let's get it documented for the next generation to be able to handle what we've left behind. Because I don't believe wealth to me is leaving my family a mess when I'm gone. Because I already know there's a 25% chance that my family will hate each other when I leave because of what they have to deal with. Right? Like we're in real estate. We see it all the time.
See it every day.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
so wealth to me lives on after I'm dead. Because if I die and then my family hates each other and like, damn it, Austin, you built this huge empire and then it destroyed the family when you left, that does not equal wealth to me. Period. Yep.
That's deep. It's deep.
I'm still going here. So let me go another. This is only one little module too, by the way. So let me go even deeper here. So not only do we got to get it all together, but I own about 50 rental properties. Okay.
Okay.
I just started. So if I, in my, let's say me and my wife pass, and then my 18-year-old daughter inherits all these properties. Do you think she's going to know how to deal with 45 rental properties?
Nope.
Hell no. So what's going to happen? She inherits millions of dollars of real estate, 45 properties that she's never seen. What happens?
That becomes a disaster.
She either fire sales them and just sells them nickels on the dollar because she doesn't know. It ruins her life. Something bad has to happen. So the second part of this training on inheritance is teaching people how to deal with your legacy. What is it that you're leaving and how do they deal with it? Positive, negative, what is it? And can you teach that to them before you're gone? And I tell stories that I didn't even realize in my real estate career when this happened. I'm like, oh crap, Marcy, when her husband died, I dealt with this. And here's what happened. And I tell the stories and I'm like, wow, it's all there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so crazy. Sasha chimed in again here and she said, the more we give, the more we will get. Service-driven career equals longevity.
So module 22, Sasha, is giving.
You know he had a module for it.
Shit. This is the whole package, Jimmy. Yeah. I'm telling you, this is the whole, because the problem that exactly what she says is true. The more we give, the more we will receive. The problem is we don't have the mindset yet of giving because we have a scarcity mindset because we don't know how to deal with our money. And we haven't been trained. And it goes back to module 2, awareness. You know, there's some people that were trained that money's the devil, that you have to hold all your money, that you keep it underneath your bed, that you don't give it away. Like we have module 2's awareness. Like, what are the things that you've been taught by your parents or you learned or you saw and witnessed? Or maybe it was your religion. Like all these things are in your mind. Yeah. And if you don't overcome these and understand them, then even though she might have a great heart, her mind's going to say, well, I can't give my last $50. Where my mind's like, hey, you can have all my money. I can go make more. Yeah. You must need it more than me.
And I think, like, you know, again, growing up, right? Like my parents, right? And I don't know if my mom's watching or not, but like my parents, they didn't teach us about money. We, you know, but they didn't know about money. So nobody taught them about money. So nobody taught the other one, you know, so it's this generational thing of like, I don't know about money. And to the other thing of this, like that generation too was work 40 hours a week, grab some overtime, save some money, and you'll be rich. And it's like, no, that's a terrible idea.
So this is what Chanel Hart Diapre taught me when I was working with her through this program and what you said is, hey, no one taught me about money. You're right, but you learned about money by watching them. And we all learn about money. Now, they might not teach you, but you learn. You learn by watching their actions and what they do with their money. And so we have to understand that, like, hey, you might not have been taught, but you definitely learned. What did you learn? And what is subconsciously, how do you think about it? And how do you act based off of, you got to remember, your parents were taught through the Depression. Yeah. Which means you are still taught through the Depression. The Depression still lives in you and the financials in which your parents taught you because their parents lived through it. Now, your kids probably won't have that because if you look at it, it's like it goes down a little bit each time. Yeah. And are we aware of this?
It's like, I want to hang on to everything. Like you said, like, I got my last $50. I'm going to hang on to my last $50. Like, what good's that $50 doing just hanging on to it, right? I think one of the biggest things I learned, my time at Quicken Loans with Dan Gilbert was one of the things that he always said was a penny saved is a penny. It doesn't change. It's if you save a penny, it's a penny. It doesn't do anything, right? And on top of that one, then he always threw the other one of like, stop stepping over dollars to pick up cents. Right. So it goes back to what you said, like time. What am I spending my time doing? This year, I said a thing for me this year was I wanted to be more intentional with my time. Right. Like I wanted to stop wasting time. I feel like I wasted a lot of time like last year. Not of anybody's fault except mine. Right. Like of like trying to spin my wheels and do some things and do this and do that. Just go back to what you know. Right. Just go back to the fundamentals. Do the things you know you like to do. And do the things that and again, because it goes back to me just being more intentional with my time, who I spend it with, how I want to do it, and then enjoying it. You know what I mean? Like there's those run rest times. Like I don't follow it as strict as I should, right? But I still try to follow it, and I still try to do those same things.
You're still learning.
Still, you never stop learning.
You still learn. We're all learning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, why do I need this? Well, who am I trying to become? How does the lifestyle that I desire, how do I truly live it? What does that look like? How do I work with my mind to make sure I don't live in fear and a scarcity mindset? I live in an abundance and a giving mindset. And those are all the things you have to work on to become.
Yes.
So
yeah, and it never ends. Like it again. I think even when I'm retired and whatever else, whenever that happens. But I think
that's going to happen.
Well, the funny thing is, and as we talk about this more and more, I don't know that guys like you and I ever retire.
Sure. Is that just an excuse because you don't have $40 million and you can't just say screw it?
Well, no, I think it's because if it depends on how you look at things, right? Like retirement, and I guess in my brain is like I just go sit somewhere and don't do anything. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I could ever just sit somewhere and not do anything. I want to go fishing, right?
Let's rewire your brain right now.
Yeah, I want to because my thought of retirement is I want to go golf or fish whenever I want to, right? Like if it's tomorrow and I wake up tomorrow and go, you know what, I'm gonna go play 9 holes this morning. And I don't have to worry about, well, I got this client and I got this agent and I got you know what I mean? Like that's to me, retirement is like, the money is fine, right? Like it's just like we're talking about wealth. The money is fine. It's okay. I can go golf or fish whenever I want to.
So do you know what module 1 is of the wealth program? I'm telling you, it's all here, brother. It's all here. Do you know what module 1 is?
I'm guessing it's retirement.
So part of your retirement is in this, and I'll give you another hint. Everything I ever train on always starts with the same module. We can put cooking. I can make a cooking show and it will start with this. Because it always starts with this. Life starts with this thing. What is that?
I don't know.
It's a goal. Why are you doing this? And so if we don't understand, module 1 is goals, by the way. Module 2 is awareness. We've talked about 1/10 of the program now, maybe a 20th, and how it goes in all of your life here.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what you want and why you want it, you will never know if we're ever getting there, or how do we know I'm in alignment? So here's a great example. And I use my life as an example in this program. One thing, when I was on welfare 12 years ago, when my son was born, one thing I knew clearly is when he graduates, I need to be free. I need to set myself up to be free. I don't understand retirement, but I understand freedom.
Yes.
And I think my freedom is my retirement. And retirement is different to me, and I'll keep explaining here. I found that I need to be free of 3 things. Okay. The first thing is I need to be free of location, and which means I can be anywhere in the world and do what I need to do or whatever I want to do. I'm not bound by a location. Okay, which is really hard to become free of a location, especially if you're selling real estate. Like, well, how do I do that? I got to show this house here.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it's one of the reasons why I stopped selling. So free of location, because I'm working my way to my vision. So free of location. The second thing is free of time. So what that means is I'm not bound by other people's clocks all the time. Right now, I'm still bound by the clocks. I accept people's money for my time. It's on my schedule. I'm bound by the clock. It's my conscious choice, and I've shortened that over my years, but I am still bound by the clock. And the third one is free of money. This one is what gets interesting. So most people think of free of money. So free of location, free of time, and free of money. Those are my three things. What does free of money mean to you when you say it out? When I say that out loud, first thing that comes to your mind is?
I don't no worries about it.
Okay.
Right? That I don't have to, the bills are paid, like everything's, I don't have to worry about it.
I think that's 99% of the world. That's how we think. That's how I thought too. But I realized I think I have a greater enemy than that with money. You know what it is? This is deep thoughts here. It's not, and it might be because I'm doing well now and I've realized this, but at first I thought I need to have the money so I can work for free. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can work for free. What I've realized as I get older, wiser, and I'm become my wealth is growing, is that my freedom lies in my head to think, how do I not charge somebody, or how much do I need to charge for my time? Because right now I'm held prisoner to my mind to say, I need to charge for this. I need to charge for this. If I worked with a client one-on-one, it's this much money a month. And here's how many minutes you get. And that's what I think I'm prisoner to. Not necessarily I don't need the money, but how do I not even think about the money?
Right.
That's a harder one for me personally. And because you might have all the money. I mean, there's a lot of people that you have more money than 98% of all the world.
Well, I don't know.
I went out on a limb there.
Yeah.
When you look at the whole world, you probably have you probably are in the 97th percentile of financials when you look at all poverty in all the world. Okay. But yet you're still prisoner to, I need to make money, and how much should I charge for this? And I'm going to a house and charging them X% for commission. I'm going to coach somebody and charge them X per hour. Okay. Even when you don't need the money, it's still on your head. Well, how do you keep growing that and growing that? I went from charging $50 an hour to $500 to $1,000, and it just, so those are my three things. That's module one. And so circling this back to retirement, Jimmy, what does retirement mean to me? It's the ability to be where I want to be. So location, not bound to other people's clocks, and not thinking about how much I need to charge somebody, and just doing it and living it for free. That's my retirement.
That sounds great.
Well, it sounds like I'm on the right track then. That's good news.
I mean, you get an A+ for me on this one. I don't know. But it's so important because we do, because we do drive ourselves crazy with this. Like, how much and again, all this talk recently with all the NAR BS that's been going on or whatever, like it's going back to like, what's your value, right? Is it, I know there was some news that broke yesterday. The guy that brought the lawsuit up is now starting his own brokerage. And everything's going to be flat fee. Like, so you want to go see a house with me? It's $49.
Okay.
You want me to write up an offer? It's $1,500. You want me to do this? It's another $50. I'm like, well, by the time you get done doing all that work of just trying to keep that together, like people are, because they don't think like you just said, right? People are thinking of the money, right? They're thinking, well, I'll go show you a house. It's $49. It's like, well, how many houses do you have to show to pay your mortgage, right? Yeah, I mean, you gotta, and then by the time you do that, you're gonna wear the rubber off your tires. You're gonna pay for gas, like you're gonna do all the things. And yes, are we doing it for free right now? For a lot, yes, right? We're driving around not doing anything. Now, do we get a big chunk at the end? Yeah, but if you start to think about what you spent, right? What you on gas, on tires, on your car, on your time, going out looking at houses, undoing the lockbox, like doing all the things, doing your social media videos out in front of the house, like all that time. And then you start, if you took what we made in a commission per hour, like no one would do this job. Like,
with the liability.
Yeah, with the on top of that.
Liability.
Right? On top of that.
Emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
I know if I had a normal job, at least when I got to go home, I probably wouldn't think so much about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it keeps me up at night.
Yeah. Because like before you just punch a clock and go home and I'm out. Now it's like, then it's like, you got to put your phone on silent because otherwise clients are going to call you at midnight, you know?
So what you're saying is, how do your day-to-day actions align with where you're trying to go? I hope everyone's hearing that. How do your day-to-day actions align with your vision, with your goals, and make sure, see, everybody's been talking about the day-to-day actions and the contracts and all that, and I've stayed out of it because I'm more focused on how do I take a human being and figure out where they're trying to go. And these are the tactics and strategies, but you don't even know where you're going.
Right.
So if we don't even know where we're going, then it doesn't matter what you do. You know what I mean? Like, you're lost either way.
I've used your name more in the past probably month than I ever have before, because I say, my friend Austin Cheviron says, start treating your buyers like you do your sellers. And I've said that over and over and over again. Trainings, coaching, things I've been at, and I've mentioned, I'm like, Austin should be paying me royalties at this point. Because like, I just keep saying, like, treat your buyer, like Austin Cheviron says, treat your buyers like you do your sellers, and you'll see how everything changes.
I heard somebody say that. His name was Leo Perea, said it once. And so I started making shirts and sending them out to them. And they started wearing the shirts.
Yeah.
And
but again, it's true, right?
It is true.
The ancillary things are the contract. Like, it's just stuff we have to do anyway. It doesn't matter. It's like you said, what are your goals? Where are you going to? And how do I get you there?
So what's interesting, when all this stuff hit, and I still have a license, I'm still in real estate. I personally don't sell anymore. I stopped selling. I went from 0 to 90, and I documented that journey on how to go from 0 homes to 90 homes a year. My top, I peaked out at 88, so not quite 90, and then from there, I went from 90 back down to 0, which is a really interesting journey. And more, everybody wants to go from 0 to 90, but yet no one's teaching you how to go from 90 to 0. And everyone said, well, why would I do that? Well, it's because it's called life.
Yeah.
You want your life back?
Somebody's teaching it.
Yeah. So we're in the process of documenting the 90 to 0 and working through the mindset and the financials and why, and what is your purpose here on earth, and what are you trying to give? And, how do you go from being on welfare to selling 88 homes a year to having the vision to go from 88 back down to 0? Like, how does all that happen? And why does it happen? And none of that has to do with buyer's agency agreement, just to be clear with everybody.
Right. Just to be clear.
It's got to be talked about. I get it. Just like, how do you open up a lockbox? Somebody has to, lockboxes in general, right? Our first conversation had 2 things in it. 1, you might have lost $10,000. And 2, why are we talking about lockboxes?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yep.
The flip you had?
Yep. The flip I had. And I might have lost about 10 grand.
10 grand.
Yep. And I don't think I've ever told my wife that. So thank you for bringing that up now.
Well, we don't know, actually. We might have made 10 grand, but Jimmy met somebody named Austin that day, had no clue who I was. And I said, listening to you might have lost 10 grand right there, Jimmy.
I know. And I was so excited about it because we did so well on it. And you're like, yeah, but you could probably get another 10 grand out of it. I was like, son of a.
So that just shows you, Jimmy, my focus is how do I get and keep the money? It always has been.
Yeah.
And I'm not greedy, but it's so I can help me get to where I'm trying to get to. I'm very clear that if I need some money to be able to get to where I'm trying to get to. And I don't need to make the money. I need to keep the money.
And it's not being wasteful either, right? Like, because that's where the lockbox conversation came in, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do we wait? Why we just wait to talk for an hour? And you were like, you literally went around the room like, how much do you make an hour? How much do you make an hour? How much do you make an hour? You just talked about this thing for 35 minutes. And you just wasted how much money? And we were all like, "Oh, you're right." Over
Jimmy,
our lockbox.
To give everybody a heads up, this was the first time I met Jimmy. I met Kurt. It was the second time I met Kurt. Essentially, Marissa. I can't remember who else was in the room.
Yeah, my friends was in the room.
Friends, and so I had to make a decision, and I was supposed to sit in silence. I had to make a decision. Do I respect these individuals and say what I believe is to be true, and possibly piss them all off and have to drive all the way back home? And I just got here. Okay. Or do I say nothing and just watch and keep writing and say, well, they might have messed that up. And so I made the decision, a respect decision, to say, hey, I'm going to respect you, but if you don't understand it, you're going to be pissed at me. But I'm willing to do that and then be asked to leave right now. The question is to everybody, like, where are you stepping up and providing value like that? because that's why I'm still here. If I mean, in all honesty, is I respect you. So I'm willing to, one of my clients always says, Austin, permission to offend. You can offend me, permission. Because they know that it's never an offense. It's just more of me giving them my thoughts of my wisdom, right or wrong, to say, hey, maybe there's a better way to do this. And most people take that offensively.
Yes.
So,
and that's a lesson to be learned, right? Like, and being in those situations, going, even going forward, before that and after that, like there's been times in meetings where I'm just like, you kind of look around and kind of gauge the room a little bit, but you're like, wait, like, what are you guys doing right now? Like, you're talking about this thing and you're wasting time. You're just, so again, you're providing that value, and it's not an offensive thing. It's a business decision, right? Like, it's like, and you're right. You could have been like, hey, F you, go back to Indiana. Who the hell do you think you are talking to us like this, right?
50-50 chance, in my opinion.
But then, like, it was like Kurt and I kind of looked at each other and went, oh, he's right. Why did we just do that? So I think you have to be self-reflect enough too, like to understand like that is coming from a place of like, why are you guys wasting this time?
Yeah. Well, and here's why it's so clear to me, Jimmy, is because it's the first thing I always work on. Module 1, goals. I have a vision of where I'm trying to get to, and I have a timeline in which I need to get there. And because of that, I can't have all this waste. Like, it's very hard for me when my son graduates in 7 years. I need to be there. Non-negotiable. If not, I've let myself down. I've had 18 years to do this. And if I don't get there when he graduates, I've let myself down. So when somebody comes in my life and they're disrupting my vision, it's like, you need to go or be corrected if you're going to be in my circle. It's one or the other, So I'm good. Like, I'm good.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if we decided at that point to like kick you out of the office and not invite you ever back, like, think of again, how much time does that save you? Right.
Well,
like,
you know what I would say? I'd say, thank God they kicked me out of their circle, because I wasn't supposed to be in it.
Yes, exactly.
They're just not the type of people I need to hang out with.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It doesn't mean anything wrong with you. It's just my impact on this world obviously isn't meant for you. And so I'm willing to say shit and piss people off to say, okay, how are they going to respond? If you don't like it, that's fine. I'll fucking go over here, man.
Right.
I'm good.
I have other people over here, like, or over there that like me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay.
So I'll tell you this. So yesterday I took 4 younger men. I took 4 younger men and my brother-in-law, who's older than me, but I took them on a fishing trip to Lake Erie. Okay. And part of the reason why I take them is to teach them the lessons. So, and lessons are just life and business and everything. And so one guy said, hey, thanks for having me again. I had a great time when I wasn't yakking. So he got sick on the boat half the time. He goes, but I learned a lot. And I said, that's why I took you. You are an investment of my life. Let's make it a great investment. That's how I look at people. Like, you're an investment of my life. So my time and energy is going to go somewhere, or I can keep it all to myself. I decided to get married and have kids. Those are investments of my life. Yeah. And so I look at you and everybody here as an investment of my life. And so I want to make sure it's a good investment. If not, I'll pull that shit back real quick and say, you know what? No more investing in you. I'm done. But I'll give you the opportunity to be a good investment. And that's how I look at things. That's what I'm trying to train him on is, hey, everywhere you go in life, it's an investment.
Yeah.
If people want it or not, that's it's okay.
And I think that's one of the most important things we can talk to agents as well, right? Like, if again, we talk about clients and this client's sucking all my time and all, but you're allowing that to happen, right? You're allowing that to happen you're allowing that to happen. Like, again, I can control that. But we get so caught up in I can't lose this deal, because we haven't taken care of our money, because we haven't done all the things that we're supposed to do. Now I can't afford to lose this deal right now because I got to close it because I got bills to pay. So I'm putting up with this time vampire that is just pulling all my time and my energy from me, but I can't not work with them because I need to close the deal. So you come to this brain melt of like, I don't know what to do right now, and I think that's where a coach, a mentor, someone that you need to go to that can help hold you accountable to those things, that's where that becomes so important.
That's the program. So in the wealth program, the first 10 modules are about your personal life. Goals, awareness, spending, financials, time blocking, simplify. Everything's about your personal life. Because if you don't get that right, nothing stacks on top of it. And then after that, I work on your business, because your business is the thing that generates it. Now, this program's not just for real estate agents. Like literally anybody can go through this. And so the second part is the business. And then the last part's what holds it all together. It's like that, the mortar of the pyramid.
Okay.
And how do we make sure that this thing stays together? Because life's rough, man. There's times in which it's like, man, I'm doing really good. I'm asset rich and cash poor. How the heck do I manage that? I have these assets, but I have no cash. And I got to make my mortgage payment. I got to make this rent payment. But I have assets. I have hundreds of thousands of assets, but I feel like I'm broke as hell right now.
Yeah.
And how do we work through that and hold our assets together and go through the storm? And it was I think
that should have been the title of the show, is holding your assets together.
Well, I mean, it started with my vision, and then it went to my mindset, and then it went to my actions, and then it went to security. And security was, how do I not screw this all up? I take very few clients one-on-one, Jimmy. One of my clients, I just told him, I said, my job is to make sure you don't F it all up. That's my job. Because you're going up the mountain. My job is to make sure you don't just completely mess it all up. Like, that's my main job. And then to help you get up there more efficiently, happier, faster. But the big thing is to make sure you don't just screw this all up. And I go, just to let you know, you got like 10 bombs in your backpack right now as you're climbing up this mountain. You don't know what they are. Some of those are your partnerships. Some of those are your mindsets. Some of those are your financials. Some of those are your business decisions. And so my job is to take those bombs off as you keep going up the mountain, because eventually they're all going to blow up. And I'm going to identify them and pull them off so you can keep going. So that way, when you get to the top, you're like, oh, look how I got here. Oh no, your coach was behind you pulling those bombs off, Okay.
And there's at least 10, right? Like there's at least 10. There's potentially more than that, right? Potentially more than that.
It helps to have, I always said people need three things, Jimmy. They need a vision, they need a system to operate off of, and they need a guide. If you can find those three things, life's a lot better. You got to have a vision, which a coach can help you with your vision. A guide can help you. And a coach, it might even be a mentor. A mentor is a coach. There's just different aspects of it.
Yeah. We got about 2 minutes left, right? Of the podcast. But so explain to us, like the wealth program, when does it start? How is it going? Where can they find it? Like, what can we do with all that?
So it launches on November 5th will be the day that it's all done. Right now we're in our pre-sale. So my goal was for 2025 to make that the best financial year for anybody that goes through this program. For the first 100 people, I will personally coach them 3 times through the program in a group. It'll be a group setting with the first 100. Well, I will come in. After that, it's an online program. You go through it on your own pace. It's about probably 8 hours long by the time we're done editing. Our website, chevironcoaching.com, it will pop right up. We have payment plans and we have pay in full. So we broke it down into 3 payment plans of $333 or 15% off pay in full. That way everybody can go through it. If you can't find $333 a month, it's probably even a bigger sign that you need to go through the program. And the feedback I got last week from people that are in the production of it is it's a mixture of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. It's a mixture of both of those, which is essentially my life and how does it all go together?
Yeah, I love that. That is the important part, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like literally changed my life, right? Like Rich Dad, Poor Dad was like, I read that because I didn't have a rich dad though. That was my problem. I just had the poor dad until I found the rich dad. Yeah. So, well, man, tons of good information, brother. I appreciate your time again, as always, because your time's not cheap. Your time's not cheap, but we're gonna plan a fishing trip. I'm gonna get a hold of you. We're gonna plan a fishing trip up here. I got a couple guys that do charters up here, so we're gonna get on a charter. We're gonna go. Well, maybe muskie season's right now, so maybe we'll get some muskies together.
I love that.
All right, everybody. Austin Cheviron, I appreciate you, my man. The Elite Real Estate Podcast. Check us out wherever you find podcasts on YouTube and whatever else. And I will see you soon. I'll see you guys next Friday. Thank you, sir. As I'm calming everything down now, we're still live streaming. So we still are live streaming. And that's it. But hey, man, I appreciate that, brother. I really do. So now this is kind of like our afterburner, right? So people are still watching. Lisa's still here. Lisa signed up for your program.
Yep, Lisa's in it.
Yeah.
I told Lisa 15 minutes Monday through Thursday to look at your bank statements, look at your credit cards. It's one of the things I train people on. And an hour on Friday to make sure your money is in alignment with your vision. Like, how are your things going? So Lisa stepped up. She said, hey, I need to work on this. I said, well, we all do. And she's like, I need to work on it. What do I need to do? 15 minutes Monday through Thursday and an hour on Friday. And the reason why, actually, module 10 is time blocking. I mean, it's all here, Jimmy. Literally,
yeah.
It's all here.
Yeah, no, that's I know how thorough you are, and I know how much you put into it. And we all appreciate it.
Thank you. Here's what I realized. We spend 45 hours a week making money. We spend 5 hours a week spending it, and we spend a half hour taking care of it, which equals 1% of your time is taking care of your money. And that's why we don't have it. Like,
so
you can't do anything else 1% of the time. If I was a father 1% of the time, how well do you think I would be?
Right.
Would I be a good father or not? No. If I was a husband 1% of the time, if I was a real estate agent 1%, you can't do anything excellent 1%. You got to increase that time. So that was my advice I gave her.
I've seen a couple real estate 1% real estate agents. I'm not going to name names, obviously, but I've seen a few out there. So, man, so you're launching November. What else? How are your other programs? What's going on? Are you just, because I know you cycle everything.
Yeah. So we have. So what we do right now? Well, let me back up. Let me say this. We shut down the Cheviron Group in May, I believe. I sold my transaction management company in May, and then I shut down my insurance company. Okay. So, because these things they're like scaffolding on a building. If I'm the building, the scaffolding goes up as the building gets erected. Once the building gets to this tall, I don't need the scaffolding that's here anymore. Right. So then scaffolding comes down. We grew one of the top real estate teams in the country, production per agent, in a very short amount of time with the vision and a system. Essentially, we just ran all of our agents through the agent success program, and then had a vision of how we ran our team. And you know a lot about that.
Yeah.
That journey had its life cycle for me personally, because now my vision was, hey, I need to get more into giving to thousands of people, not 25. These 25 are doing really well. I need to get into thousands and millions now. So we documented that journey, which is our teams program. And I didn't need the team anymore then. Hey, we're good. We made some decisions. I told the team wide open to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and we're going to progress down this road, and end up being it. So we're all in right now on documenting our journeys. We have the agent success program, which is how do you live a big life and run a big business by referral. We got that documented last year. We documented our teams program last year. Now we have our wealth. We got 2 more programs that will come out in the future, a leadership program. And then what I'm working on right now is a legacy program, which is actually how do you get out of selling real estate. So I have a handful of individuals that do $30 to $100 million a year in sales. And I'm working what I personally did, I'm working their process to get out and to build it so they can actually live the lifestyle they desire. Because it's really hard to get out once you go up.
Yeah, because we don't take care of what we did when we got there. Right. We don't take care of it on the way. So then it's like, well, again, it goes back to that same thing. Like, I need a sale because I don't know where I'm going to pay my mortgage next month because I need another. It's like, well, why is your mortgage this much money? Right. Because you bought this house based on how much money you were making, which means you can never get out of
That's it.
selling it because now you've secured yourself to this much money.
Yeah, a lot of it's we have the mindset, and then we have really, the legacy that these individuals want to leave. Like, they're getting closer to that. So if you go through the filter of, I got to survive to start with, like survival, and then I'm stable in my life, and then I become successful, and then how do I become significant? And these individuals are working on their significance, which is, how do I leave the legacy I want to? Like, I have money now, I'm making 7 figures a year. How do I, though, transfer the earning of income to what do I want to give and leave? So that's a big thing, and that's a hard one, because like, who are all these people you're going to let down now, you feel like, and why would you feel like you would let them down? So that will probably be a 2026 program.
And this really resonates with me. I just had a close friend I grew up with. We've known each other since middle school. We haven't talked really recently. I mean, just because life, right? Nothing thing. But he just passed away Tuesday. He's 51 years old. He had cancer and died Tuesday. And I'm like, wow, that really just. And now it's like funeral costs, there's all the things, and it's like, well, where does that all come from, right? Because it goes back to like, what are you leaving? Right? Like, if this were to happen to me right now, how would I leave the family? Like, how would that, and you went through this, you with your mom, like you dealt with it at 16. Like, that's like a slap in the head. Like, well, yet you didn't deserve, you know what I mean? Like,
well, don't let a good tragedy go to waste.
Yeah.
Like, how do we, you got hit on Tuesday to say, okay, if that was you right now, what would you have wished you would have done? Yeah. And then let's get to it. Like, stop fucking around and let's get to it.
Yeah. Because that's the bad part, right? Because what are you leaving? And are you leaving a complete mess for everybody to clean up when you're not here?
It's selfish to do that. Like, module 18 of our wealth program is insurance. No one wants to talk about insurance.
No,
right?
don't talk about that.
But I need to be responsible for myself. Here's a great example. There was a guy in our area that was a lender. I think he was a lender for 20 some years. And the next thing you know, he got a disease, and I see all these GoFundMes.
Yep.
And now he's like, hey, this guy doesn't have enough money to pay for this and this and this. I'm like, he's been in the business for 20 years. And the first thing that happens, he doesn't have money for a wheelchair. Like, are you kidding? Like, what? You drove a BMW for 10 years. Like, would you take care of yourself? Like, why are you asking me to take care of you now? No offense to anybody. Like, this could be offensive. I get that. But at the end of the day, it's like, maybe you don't drive that BMW and you have an insurance policy, so that way other people don't have to take care of you when the first storm comes. Like, would you grow up?
It's true. It's true, right? It's that's what we do. And we don't I feel like sometimes we don't slow down enough to realize it, right? We get so caught up in the hamster wheel that this is what we should be doing. And I'm making enough money. I'm going to buy the BMW and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Because we don't think enough about, like, I am 51 now. You know what I mean? Like, health things can happen, right? Like, health things can happen at any age, right? Yeah. But the older we get, the more likely, over 50, weird stuff starts happening, right? Yeah. So,
and how are you, one of my main, I was telling the younger gentleman I fished with yesterday, I was telling him, I'd rather have 5,000 in residual income than 20,000 of earned income. And they're like, what? Yeah, because the 5,000 and the 20,000 in earned income takes me every month to earn that. Well, what happens if I'm not here the next month? I get sick, something happens, somebody needs me somewhere. If I can live off that 5,000 and call it good, then my life's good. Like, I'm not living off the 20, but man, I got this one thing settled now that if the storm came, my 5,000 is still good. And so that's always been my focus. Like, how do it's not 20,000, but this 5,000 can secure my house payment, my car payment, my insurance payments, groceries, gas. You know, now maybe my kids can't play travel sports, but you know what? You don't get to. Dad didn't put you in that position. So sorry.
Yeah.
You're back to Wildcat or whatever that is. You know?
And let's be honest, the whole travel thing, I did it all, right? I still do it. My son just playing soccer right now. Like we did AAU basketball this summer. Like now it's soccer. Oh, my son just picked up lacrosse too. Like he wants to play lacrosse.
Lovely.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's not expensive. It's fine. Yeah. So, but here we are, right? Grinding through it and doing our thing again. So, well, all right, brother, I appreciate it. I don't want to keep any more of your time, but I am going to set us up a fishing trip. I promise.
I'd love to go muskie fishing. That's in the river, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just talking about that.
Yeah. So I'm going to get with my brother today, actually, because he helps this guy do charters, and they'll put us on. We went walleye fishing with him. That's in the spring, but we didn't walleye fishing. We had a 4-man limit in like 2 hours.
Yeah, good stuff. So we were perch fishing yesterday. We caught 100-some perch.
Okay.
So, but I've never caught a muskie. I'd love to catch a muskie.
I promise. I'm putting it on us right now
on your to-do list. I appreciate that.
It's on there right now.
Love it. Thank you for letting me impact today.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate your time as usual, and I will talk to you soon.
See you, Jimmy.
See you, man.